Okay, today we're going to have a look at how to wire a plug. So we've got some things here. First off, I've got my actual plug over here. Okay, so this is my plug and it's not at the minute got a wire attached to it. Okay, this is a 3-pin plug because it's got 1, 2, 3 pins on it. I've also got a wire which has got 3 bits inside it. Okay, and you will notice we've actually got 3 bits inside this wire, which are going to be important. Okay, so I've got my live wire, which is the brown one. I've got my earth wire, which is my yellow and green one. And I've got over here my blue wire, which is my neutral wire. Now, you'll notice a couple more things about these wires. Okay, so you'll notice that we have got a couple of different materials that these are made out of. So I've got the middle of the wire, which is made out of copper. Now that's because that is a good insulator, good conductor, sorry. So the copper is in the middle of the wire, and that's there to conduct the electricity through the wire. We've then got, outside that, we've got the casing, or the inner casing, which is made from rubber or plastic. And that is there to insulate the wire because it's a good insulator and that'll stop the wire from conducting the electricity through to the outside. I've also then got my outer casing as well, which goes around all 3 wires and keeps them all safe and keeps them all protected. Now, similar to that, on my actual plug itself, okay, I've got my actual casing of my plug is made from plastic. Again, that's to stop the current from getting through that because it's an insulator. But I've also got my pins, which are made from brass, usually, or some other type of metal, or brass or steel or something like that. Now, the reason for that, again, is a good conductor, but we don't want to make it out of copper because copper's a bit too soft usually, because copper's too soft, and so it's all about the materials and the properties of those materials that we're going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to start by taking my actual plug to pieces. So I've got a small screwdriver here to do that with. So I'm going to put my wire to one side for a second and I'm going to open up my plug. So I've got 3 screws in here. So this top one is the actual screw to take it off, and these bottom ones we'll have a look at later. So the one in the middle, I'm going to unscrew this to actually take the plug to pieces. So I'll take that screw out and I'll put it to the side somewhere safe. Put that off camera actually. And I can now access the middle of my plug. Now I've got a few more things in here which we need to know about as well. Okay, so I've got my 3 pins in the back, and each of these, if you have a look carefully, has got a little screw on the back of it. Okay, so each of those, you can see a little screw and a little hole, and that's where the actual wire goes, just in there. I've also got on here a couple of other little bits. So I've got, first off, this thing here, which is my fuse. So that is there to protect me, okay? That is there to stop too much current going through from the plug into your appliance. So it attaches to where the live wire attaches to, which is really important because if it wasn't there, then too much current could get through. Okay, so if something goes wrong and too much current's going through into your live wire, the fuse will break and stop the current before anything else breaks. So this is to protect you and to protect your appliances. We've also got here as well a cable grip. So the cable grip is there to attach to the wire, and that's to hold the wire in place. And what this is there for is to stop, if you go along and you kick your wire, for example, as you're walking around, then that should hopefully stop the wire from being pulled out of the little pins that are in here. So that keeps it in place and keeps it firmly held in. Right, now going to have a look at putting my wires into my plug. So I first off need to know which holes they're going to go in, because there's nothing on here that tells me particularly where they should go. Now the first one's quite easy, because the first one should always be my earth wire, because it's my safety wire. So to keep me safe, I'm going to put that in first. But the other two are a bit more tricky, because they're about the same length, okay, and I don't know which way they're going to go. So my earth wire goes to the top, again because it's the longest. But other than that, my brown and my blue wires, my live wire and my neutral wire, are going to be a bit more tricky to decide. But there is a way of remembering this. So if we remember that the brown wire goes to the right and the blue wire goes to the left, that can help you to remember which way these are going to go. So I'm going to have, like I said, my earth wire at the top, and I want my brown live wire to the right. Okay, this might be opposite way around on your screen depending on how you're watching it. Sorry, that is my live wire. And to the left, I'm going to have my neutral wire. Okay, so I'm going to start putting those in, so I'll clear that out of the way, and I'll leave that bit up to the side. But before I do that, I need to take off my cable grip, okay, or at least need to loosen it. So I'm going to take it off completely, just to make it a bit easier for me to access what I'm doing. So again, I'll put my little screws to one side in a safe place. Oh, this one's a bit stiff, but I'll take that off. There we go. Put this aside in a safe place. Put my cable grip to the side in a safe place again. So it's now just a little bit easier to access. So I'm going to start with my safety wire, my earth wire. I'm going to put it into the little hole at the side there. I've already loosened my screws to do this, and then I'm going to tighten the screw up as tight as I can get it, plenty tight enough so there's no chance of that coming out. Then I'm going to do the same with my neutral wire, my blue wire. I'm going to attach that again into its hole on the, remember, blue left, so BL for blue, BL for left. And I'm going to put my last off, my brown live wire into the right hand side next to my fuse. So another way of remembering it as well, by the way, because we talked about the fuse earlier being a safety feature and stopping too much current going into the appliance, I'm going to put my brown wire on the right, again to stop too much current going through there and into my appliance. Once I've done that, I can now pop my cable grip back on, and this is really important that this goes over the double insulated bit here. So the outer insulation bit, where that starts, that's where I can start putting my cable grip, because I want that to hold the whole wire in place. Okay, and if you flip your wire over, you plug it over, see these two screws, these two holes at the bottom, where my little screws are going to go for my cable grip. So I'll just get those in place. And then I can just tighten those up. And my other one. Okay, making sure they are nice and tight and actually in the right place would help. And it's really important that you keep your cable grip screws nice and tight, because what you don't want to happen is for it to pull out of, if you walk along and accidentally pull this or kick it, okay, you don't want the wires to come out, because then you've got live wires potentially that you could touch. Okay, so now we're all in place. Okay, so I've got now my 3 wires in there. Okay, and I have got my brown live wire on the right, which is, remember, that's your one that's got a potential difference. It's got a high potential difference of 230 volts. I've got my blue neutral wire to the left, which is at 0 volts, and that completes your circuit. And I've got my earth wire to the top, which is my safety wire. So this is all in now, and I can just have a quick check. I can't pull that out of there because my cable grip's all in place. So I'm now ready. I can pop my casing onto the back again. Nice and tight. Just get rid of all that. And then I can just pop my final screw back in the middle bit and tighten that up nice and tight. And that is now ready to go, and that can be now plugged in, and it should work perfectly. Okay, again, I cannot pull that out of there because my cable grip's holding it in place, and I've got all my safety features in there. Now, if you notice as well, one clever little feature of plugs in the UK, our earth wire pin is a little bit longer, remember it was the top one, than the other two. That means your safety pin, your earth wire, has to go into your plug before your other two do. And you can't actually plug this in without an earth wire pin. So until that goes in, the other two aren't connected. So if there is a problem, you're already safe because your earth wire is in there. Okay, hopefully that's helped you understand how we would put a plug together. Obviously, it's not ideal if you were in school. We would all have a go at trying this and doing it yourselves. But unfortunately, I don't recommend that you try this at home unless you have someone who knows what they're doing and can supervise you to do it properly. So please do not now go and take plugs to pieces in your own home, because if you don't put it back together properly, it can be extremely dangerous. Okay, so hopefully that's helped you all though, and potentially at some point when you get back to school, your teachers might let you have a go at this yourselves. But don't try it at home.